Oh, really?
Typically, we see, with this, I think we'll see all manner of cocktails. It's really kind of up to each business.
And was this your little brainchild?
We want them to get creative. Yes, it was
your idea.
And Sarada Bonnet, who was also on the board of the Covington Business Association. We brainstormed it together.
Man, y'all are good.
It's a lot of fun.
There's a lot going on in Covington.
It's a whole lot of fun.
So what else can you tell us about? What else we got going on?
Oh, goodness. Well,
you have to register for the costume, or you just show up?
You do, technically. So whenever you get your ticket online, you are eligible to participate in the costume contest. So like I said, you have to be a stroll participant to do the costume contest. So when you pick up your cup on site at the Covington Trailhead on the day of the event, we're going to ask you, do you want to participate in the contest? And if you do, we'll give you a number. And we'll make you come back to the trailhead after you're done strolling around 7 o'clock, and then we'll line up everybody on stage. We're going to have a panel of judges from the local community, probably somebody from the CBD shop because they're a sponsor, Resource Bank because they're a presenting sponsor, and then probably one of our local council members from the city of Covington. So you get
have you any ideas what some people are dressing as? Have you heard?
You know, I don't know yet. I love group costumes. I think people get, like, you know how people put together a group costume that's all themed together and they collaborate? Like, I love that. That's so much fun. You can see some really cool and kind of funny stuff like that.
Huh?
Yeah. So remember, $300 for best single costume, $600 for best group costume.
First place only. That's it.
Single and group. You have a winner in each category.
A winner, and everybody else is a loser.
Not a loser, just not the winner. Everybody's a winner in my book.
Second place. How's that sound?
Yeah. We don't have a prize for them.
Yeah, but they got a cup.
Better luck next year. They got to stroll. They've already gotten their prize.
What about the cup? What's on the cup?
It's just a black kind of like stadium style cup with orange lettering on it with.
So what else do you have going on, Janine? We got a minute and a half to go.
Oh goodness. Well, okay. Covington is just overflowing with events this season. You know, one of my my favorite events, who I know you've spoken with him, is Men Who Cook. That's one of my favorite Covington events. You got Monster Mash coming up in Covington.
Ooh.
All kind of great stuff.
You do that? No, you don't do that.
No, I don't do Monster Mash. That's the St. Tammany Parish Hospital's event, but it really is a fantastic event for families.
So if you want to do this, do we call 985-373-5271?
Go online.
Go online.
Go online.
www.gocovington.org.
Yes, all tickets have to be purchased online. It's $25.
Is there a limit?
21. We are only selling 1,800 tickets this year.
Only?
I'm sorry, not 1,100. 1,800 would be a lot. I'm sorry, 1,100 tickets.
We're only selling 3.5 million tickets. Covington's going to be like this.
But like the cool thing is, you know, you stroll, if cocktails and all that, if that's not your thing, come for the free concert at the end. Bring the kids to the free concert.
So get there at 4.
Get there at 4 to get your cup if you're a stroller.
Right.
And if not, then come for the costume contest starting at 7 at the trailhead. Stay through the concert. Tyler Kinchin and the Right Pieces. They're amazing. If you've never seen them, they are so much fun to watch.
And you stroll from 5 to 7? What if I get there at 4 and I'm first in line? What am I going to do?
Lucky you. You'll be the first one to get your drinks.
Yeah, but
just hang out and come visit some of our local shops. Covington's got so many great places to shop.
I want something to drink.
So many great places to eat, drink.
Okay, and then you can get something to eat, and then at 7 o'clock there's the concert?
No, so 5 to 7 is the stroll, 7 to 8 is the costume contest at the trailhead.
With the beck and call food and everybody else?
Beck and call food and the meatball.
With Eddie Gaden, my buddy.
With Eddie Gaden, and then 8 to 9:30 is the free public concert at the trailhead. So bring your chairs, bring the kids, come enjoy some Halloween.
I'm going to have a cup and a chair. You going to have our candy you're going to give too?
We may. I think we may. We'll probably do a little trick-or-treating action. Oh, yeah. So much good Halloween fun.
All right. So it's October 26th, which is a Saturday.
It's a Saturday. If we get rained out, it will be on the 27th.
Okay. 26th, because there won't be any rain. Go to www.gocovington.org. $25, get your cup. They're cutting it off at 1,100 cups.
Yep. And I'll tell you, they sell out.
Really?
Kokomo sells out in advance.
1,100 cups.
Yes.
And you can taste tons of wine and cocktails.
No wine. Just
No,
craft
I'm sorry,
cocktails.
why do I say wine? Beer and cocktails.
Just craft cocktails, craft beer.
My wine's on beer for me. Anyway, all right. All right. That's it.
That's it.
Anything else?
I think that's it. We hope everyone will come out and join us. Thank you so much for helping us.
Hey,
spread the word.
anytime. Thank you. All right, Covington, Mandeville, Slidell, Abita Springs, Folsom, Lacombe. Look, October 26th. Don't call. Go to www.gocovington.org. $25. You get to drink all the beer and cocktails you want.
That's it.
Visit restaurants, eat, have a concert, dress up in your Halloween costume, and have a blast. We'll see you later. That's a wrap. Bye.
Good morning. My name is David Doss, and I'm serving as president of the Family Promise Board of Directors this year. On behalf of our board, our staff, all our congregations, all our partners, and our graduates, it's my pleasure to be able to welcome you here this morning. We'll get started in the right frame of mind with a prayer. We'll have Dr. Waylon Bailey from First Baptist Church of Covington lead us.
Thank you. What an exciting day this is to think about a whole community coming together, working together to make this work. Let's pray together. Our Heavenly Father, we praise and honor and glorify your name at what you do in your world. God, I thank you for each of these folks who are here. I thank you for the hard work, for the diligence, for the prayer, for the dreaming, for the vision that you've given to our area. God, we thank you that we get to live in this place. And we thank you that as we live in this place, we get to serve you in all the kinds of ways that you lead us to do. God, we thank you for the word family, and we thank you for the word promise. You have promised us in your word so many wonderful blessings. God, we pray that this house would be a place that's a promise to families who are hurting and struggling. And God, in your word, you give us the word hope. And I pray that this house would be a place of hope and of blessing and of encouragement. God, thank you for this day. We pray your blessings upon our efforts. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
We're pleased we have a few officials who've joined us this morning, and I just want to quickly recognize them. We have our parish president, Pat Brister, and we'll hear from her again in a few moments. Senator Jack Donahue, somewhere here. Representative Reed Falconer. Our coroner, Dr. Preston, is with us this morning. Our superintendent of schools, Trey Foltz. Trey, where are you? There he is, back here. And from our parish council, we have Councilman Maureen O'Brien. Did I miss anyone? If I did, please wave. Okay. All right, thank you. So I'm going to turn it over at this point to David Horchor, who's our executive director.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming out. So I'm going to start off with a few thank yous. First off, I would like to recognize our board, past and present. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. They have given their time, talent, and treasure to lift up these families and to be, I'm going to get through this, to be successful. If I could have a board kind of raise and wave their hands for us. Our facilities committee, who has gotten us to this point, and the leadership there, Mr. Brian Hodnett. And to our construction partners to this point, Greenleaf Lofts and Architects, Justin Greenleaf. Duplantis Design Group, Tommy Buckle and his folks, and our work with McMath Construction to get us where we are today. I'd also like to recognize our congregations and volunteers. Without them, we wouldn't exist. They truly are the life's blood of this program. And to my staff, you are mighty but small. Sister Teresa Daly, you give levity and love and keep us all on track. Leroy Jones, you're more than a driver, you're a mentor and a father and grandfather to those that have none. And Diane Franks, our case manager, you fiercely advocate and fight for our families, even when that battle is with me. Our community partners are one of our greatest strengths. Our donors, our service partners, and one of those is the North Shore Community Foundation. They have been with us since day one. I'd like to introduce Ms. Susan Bonnet to talk about their partnership with us and where we will go in the future.
Thank you, David, and to all of you, other David, and to all of you for being here. I will be brief because I know you will hear this story over and over again, but I will tell you the beginning of Family Promise and the fact that Family Promise is in this parish and that we're standing here today is a really remarkable example of how it's supposed to work. And maybe oftentimes we don't always hear those stories, but to Parish President Brister's credit, gosh, about 5 or 6 years ago now, she came to the Community Foundation and said, we have a problem with homelessness in this parish, and the government can't solve the problem on its own. Can you, the foundation, help us find a solution? And so we just got to be the back office and did some research and did some work to find solutions other places in the country and a model that would work. So the foundation had the privilege of simply putting pieces together, and many of those pieces are represented by the people in front of me, to make something work. So the foundation has merely been a very behind-the-scenes, happy administrator and partner and facilitator, if you will, of the work that all of you and the congregations and the assets of the faith-based community in this parish have been. And so to the credit of our leadership of Pat, to the congregations that are represented here and that work in this program, and to the staff and volunteers who get this done every day, it is an incredible success story, and it has everything to do with you. So thank you all very much. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Susan. I truly appreciate your partnership, and I look forward to many years. Next, I would like to introduce Ms. Heather Levin. Heather is a shining example of what this program can do. She came to us with nowhere to go. She was on the street with 2 small children. She had no resources. A very common thread in St. Tammany Parish. When a family hits hard times, they don't have the resources to rebound. Heather had lost a job due to no child care. Then she lost her home due to a landlord unwilling to fix a sewage issue. So she turned to us and she put her trust in us. I'd like to introduce Heather Levin.
Oh, wow. Okay. I just want to let y'all know how grateful I am for Family Promise. In August of 2018, I became homeless. I had a 4-month-old baby and a 7-year-old child, a boy. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. I had lost 2 jobs due to, trying to find child care assistance, and of course that's a loophole. God opened up plenty of doors for me, leading me right to Family Promise. As long as I was very determined. Door after door was shut. Family Promise's door opened up. I was unable to keep a job, like I said, due to transportation and child care. Once I got into Family Promise's care, they were within a week. They had child care assistance for me. I was able to get a job through programs. I've been able to get housing, and even donated a vehicle to me. So I've been able to get my kids where they needed to be. If it wasn't for Family Promise, I really don't know where I'd be to this day. And they continue to help me through stepping stones. They are one of my strongest support systems now. And they continue, and I will be here with them and speak for them no matter how far they go, because I'm a strong believer that if you really, really want help and you want to help yourself, they will help you, and they will give you the tools and resources to get on your feet.
Thank you, Heather. We actually have two really important announcements today, and I'll take care of the first one. Through a community partnership, by June 1st, Heather will be a Family Promise of St. Tammany employee. I will say, we didn't invent this. Family Promise National is celebrating their 30th year this year. Without their guidance and their leadership and without their resources, we wouldn't be here. To talk a little about their partnership with us and the growth of our affiliates, which is one of over 200 across this nation, I'd like to introduce Ms. Teresa Ramsey. She is the Regional Director for the Gulf South.
Thank you so much, David, and congratulations to all of you. I am delighted and honored to be here with you all to celebrate this fabulous day. I don't care what the weather's doing right now. This is a bright day for Family Promise of St. Tammany. Yes, I'm so happy for you guys. As David mentioned, we're a national agency. We've been in existence for 30 years. Have over 200 affiliates across 43 states, and you all have a hand in that. We have volunteers every night across the nation that work and provide a safe environment for the children that we serve. I have been here with you all almost since day one. I feel so personally attached. I was the director in Mobile, Alabama, as you were beginning to talk about this affiliate developing here, and we had a team who came and gave a field visit to us in Mobile, and we were just delighted to share some information at that time. So it's been exciting to see the growth, and you've served over 50 families, 58 families since day one, families that really didn't have anywhere else to go, and no one that would just kind of take the time to unpack their personal situation so that they could have a better future for their children. Over 150 children, 158 children that you've served. And today says you're going to be here for many more years to serve more kids, more families. So congratulations. We are so excited for all the wonderful things that are happening in St. Tammany. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. I believe we have some other Family Promise affiliate folks here that traveled in for this event. Give us a hand. Renee. Thank you. One other extremely important piece of this partnership that brought this program together. She has a love of the citizens. She has a love of families. And without her leadership and desire to see this program succeed, we would not be here. I'd like to introduce Parish President Patricia Brister.
Thank you very much, and thanks for being here on this rainy day. It's important that we be a part of this. We're here today for a couple reasons. The first is to break ground on the facility that signals the evolution of the Safe Haven campus and fulfills a dire need, unfortunately a dire need here in St. Tammany. It is extremely gratifying to see the number of agencies working together to continue to make this initiative a reality. To now have services accessible in both eastern and western St. Tammany will be a blessing not only for Family Promise, but the families that they serve. But we're here for another reason. And I'm glad Don and Melissa are here to honor the legacy of my friend and your neighbor, the late Willie Peretti. Willie was truly a champion of so many causes. She found a need and she filled it with love, dinner at times, basic necessities, or with her ability to generate awareness and support from her neighbors and friends. Whatever it took, she was going to make it happen. And she sure did everything she could to make this world a better place. The plight of our homeless was a cause she was passionate about and worked to change for the better. Sadly, we lost Willie very recently, but her legacy of service will be remembered for many, many years to come. Today, we break ground on this center and we bestow upon it her namesake. We celebrate the future home of the Family Promise of St. Tammany Willie Peretti Day Center. Thank you. If each one of us gives just a fraction every day of the service and love, friendship, and caring that Willie gave over the course of her life, there's no doubt that this world will be a better place for it. Thank you, Willie, for all you gave us. Thank you to Family Promise for allowing us to honor her legacy. And thank you to Willie's family for sharing her with us all this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bad. It'll be an honor to have her name on this building. You know, when I first took over Family Promise, there was one person that I met that wasn't sure. They said, I'm in this little office, and I said, there's this bigger room. Why can't we go in this bigger room? He says, well, Father Harry doesn't want you out there. I says, well, I'm going to go talk to Father Harry because we need a bigger office space. From what I thought would have been a tough uphill battle has led to a friendship and a board member, a committee chair, a confidant, and a sounding board. I'd like to introduce Father Harry Jenkins for our benediction.
Thank you, David. We won't keep you much longer. Let's, if you can, stand as you are able for a final blessing. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God who made heaven and earth, bless this land and the future day center that will be built here. We ask that this be a place of safety, healing, and growth for all the families who participate in Family Promise. Open their hearts and minds to accept the help that is given to them. Give the leaders, the staff, and the army of volunteers that serve this program the knowledge and strength to offer the best possible assistance to those who come seeking help. Bless all who are here today and those who couldn't be with us. Give us the guidance we need to enable us to do our best for the families of St. Tammany. All this we ask humbly in the name of our God who teaches us to love our neighbor. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. As we get ready to turn these shovels, I would ask each of you that if you would consider an investment in this building, to please do so, that we can make sure this hope of a building named after Willie comes to fruition. Thank you.
First, I want to say a personal thank you to the Archbishop. He has been so generous. As you know, we use the chapel for our meetings, and you've just been wonderful to help us out there. So thank you so much, and would you please come and
Thank you. It's a real privilege to be here today and a continued collaboration with what we do and what happens here at Safe Haven. Let us pause for a moment of silence to remember that we're in God's presence. Loving and faithful God, we are grateful for the many ways you show your love and your care in our lives. As we gather today, we ask your blessings upon the people who will come to Safe Haven and those who are here seeking healing. Heal them of mind, body, and spirit. Reassure them of your love and presence in their lives. Strengthen their families as they walk with them. Enlighten all those who serve on the staff of Safe Haven and the administration. May their work be effective in caring for all who come here and lead them towards the healing and wholeness. Lord, we ask for your continued blessings upon the residents of St. Tammany Parish, President Pat Brister, and all in public office, especially those gathered here today. And Lord, we ask this in faith, for you are God, living and reigning forever and ever.
Thank you so much. I want to introduce the people that you will be hearing more from in a moment, but I wanted to take a moment. Director Carroll is here with us today, and he is the director of U.S. Office of National Drug Control Party. There we go, all of that. But he's the drug czar, and that's what we like about his being here. He spent a lot of time with us already, and we appreciate you being here, and you'll hear more from him in just a moment. Our very own St. Tammany, Senator John Kennedy. We're so happy you're here, and he is responsible for putting this together today, and we thank you for doing it. And our Senator Jack Donahue, with his help in getting us here, can never thank him enough. So you're going to be hearing more from them as we go forward. But I just do have a few comments to start. Certainly, I want to welcome everyone today as we make a significant and exciting milestone in the history of Safe Haven. As most of you know, the Crisis Receiving Center will serve as the anchor for the entire Safe Haven campus, or the facility. When this facility opens, we hope that many lives will be changed as residents experience a new dimension of behavioral health care, and as we implement a new approach of providing this care here in St. Tammany Parish. Right here, within the bones of this building, literally bones of this building, that has laid dormant, we will soon see and hear the sounds of hope, help, and help echoing through the corridors. The Crisis Receiving Center represents the way to mental health care for a great many. We are proud to stand here today to mark the beginning of its future. A future we can now see getting closer and closer, thanks to the hard work and efforts of not only St. Tammany Parish government, but of every invested public agency, first responder, nonprofit, hospital, healthcare provider, and resident who has stepped up in to create this collaboration of on-site and network-based partners to create a healing environment. We're proud to stand here today to mark the beginning of the history-making future. We started this project for specific reasons. The present state of behavioral health care is fragmented, expensive, and oftentimes ineffective. Statistically speaking, 1 in 5 adults in the United States will experience a mental health condition. This is just one of the staggering statistics about the state of our health and wellness. The number alone gives us all a call to action. The numbers that hit closest to home are the ones that impact each of us, each of our loved ones, each of our neighbors, and each of our friends, every single day. The ones that take the toll on our families because a mental illness has left a family without their mother or father, or an addiction has left a child in a tailspin, unable to move into adulthood, or we must watch as a family friend copes with the suicide of one of their own. These things happen. They are real, and they happen every day in our community. The cost is not only emotional, but also financial. We all bear the burden when families are broken, when families cannot function, when families cease to be able to care for their own. This facility will address unmet needs to create a seamless thread in the continuum of care. It will serve as a comprehensive, multifaceted program and a single point of entry into the behavioral health continuum for law enforcement, the judiciary, and local area hospitals. Safe Haven will ultimately become a place where all people struggling with mental illness or substance use disorder can come to be assessed, locate services, and ultimately receive the care they need based on the place they are in within their behavioral health journey. The goal of Safe Haven is to elevate the state of the accessibility of behavioral health care. It will gather all of the necessary partners under one roof and give the person in need the best tools that can possibly be located for recovery. It is modeled to create a healing environment for vulnerable individuals at all stages of mental illness. It will give early access to care, thereby reducing the cost of inpatient stays due to delayed treatment. We anticipate that through lessening the burdens currently shouldered by our law enforcement agencies and our emergency departments in area hospitals, as patients will be diverted to Safe Haven for care, that Safe Haven will ultimately save taxpayers' money. It will also lessen the burden on the criminal justice system through access to the specialty court system and diversion from jails, as many people detained in local jails are in need of behavioral health care or reentry alternatives. I really think we're on to something good here. I hope you agree. Safe Haven will be a place where the pieces can be reassembled, where comprehensive care at every stage is the only goal, where people can move through to a brighter season in a humane, multifaceted network of care right here in St. Tammany Parish. Safe Haven will heal. So now it is my honor to introduce the guest speakers. First, as I mentioned, Director James Carroll, and I will say it correctly, is the Director of the U.S. Office of National Drug Control Policy. There, I said it right that time.
It's a great honor to be back. I was here a few months ago, and I couldn't wait to come back. Because so often people focus on the negative. They talk about the 70,000 people who are dying every year. And there are glimmers of hope nationally. What we're beginning to see nationally is for the first time in 30 years, the number of Americans dying from addiction has gone down. But really today, we're here to celebrate. We're not to look at the past, to look just at the number of people dying. But through the work of Pat, the remarkable, miraculous work that's led by Pat here, but then also with such national leaders as Senator Kennedy and the Archbishop, what we have here is the opportunity for a community to come together. And what we know statistically is that communities of faith, when they work together, that God is present and that God is able to change lives and that we're able to go into the community and reach people who need help and say, I'm here for you. At my Catholic church back home in Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia, there's another Alexandria, guys, in Alexandria, Virginia, my wife and I are part of a prayer group, and there's a side chapel, and on the wall it says, "Be not afraid, I am with you." And it took me a while, I am from D.C., to realize that that's actually what you all are doing here. And what other communities coming together are doing is you're reaching out to people who are struggling with the disease of addiction and saying, "Be not afraid, I am with you." It's a scary moment for a person when they're ready to accept recovery and when they're ready to accept treatment. And what you're doing is extending that hand right here, and you're telling them that it's okay. You have people who are in recovery here, so they're peer specialists who can say, I've been there. You have people in the community who say such things as, we're going to help provide housing, food, shelter, and take care of your needs. And that full wraparound services that you all want to provide here is all in the beautiful phrase of God's presence, "Be not afraid, I am with you." And so when we can talk about the number of people dying, here what we're going to do is talk about the lives saved. about the number of changes that you all are making in your community. You know, Senator Kennedy is known in D.C. and I think known here in the community as someone who is tough and tough on making sure that he's fighting for the people here in the community. And back in D.C., we talk about committee assignments and leadership roles. And really, when I'm back in my home of D.C., which isn't a bad thing, when I'm back home, really what I see is Senator Kennedy being the champion and the leader for empathy and for compassion for his constituents here. I first met Senator Kennedy in my new role about 1.5 years ago as drug czar. And in the first conversation, he started talking about things right here back at home. And what was I going to do to help folks in Louisiana, and of course, here in the home parish. And so we talked about some of the needs. We talked about how the needs here are different than others. This is not a rural, this is not a inner city issue right here. This is more of a rural issue. And it's tougher to find services. And it's tougher to sometimes find people who are able to provide expert services. But what he told me, and I'll never forget, was the compassion and the heart of the people here. And that has been demonstrated throughout my visits here. And so I'm very honored to have Senator Kennedy invite me back and to show me again firsthand from our visit 2 months ago, the last time I was here in the great state, being able to come back and witness firsthand the compassion and the heart and soul of the people of this parish and of this state. So with thanks to all, and a special thanks to Senator Kennedy for allowing me to come to Louisiana again. It's a great honor to be with you. For everyone on the panel, but especially a heartfelt appreciation to Pat. This would not be possible without her and the others up here. And so God bless you all. Thank you for being that hand reaching out to people to say, don't be afraid. Thank you all very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Director Carroll, so much. It is his second visit here. We hope it won't be your last. No. So now it's my pleasure to welcome Senator Kennedy, our very own St. Tammany resident. He said in the beginning when he learned about this, I'm going to help you. And he has helped us, and it continues to do so. Thank you, Senator. I first want to thank Jim Carroll for being here today. Jim is our, when I say our, I mean America's drug czar. I call him Director Carroll because if I call him Czar Carroll, the national media thinks he's from Russia. I can't think of a more challenging time to try to address drug policy, drug addiction, drug prevention in America today. But Jim has done an extraordinary job, and we're already seeing improvement to a very, very difficult social and economic problem. So I want to thank the director for being here today. He honors us, he honors Louisiana with his presence and making time for us out of a very busy schedule. I want to thank the American taxpayer. It won't be enough, but through some HUD disaster grants, which were funneled through the state, about $5 million of American taxpayer money, your money, contributed to Safe Haven. Now, the politicians will take credit for that money. I understand the way it works. I'm a politician too. But it came from the American taxpayer. And I want to thank the people of this country who get up every day, go to work, obey the law, pay their taxes, teach their kids morals, the people like you for their money.
Number 3, what an incredible idea that has come to fruition. Safe Haven was born in darkness. I think Senator Donahue is going to talk more about this, but I remember the day that Governor General decided to close down our state mental hospital here. It was not a good day. It's the maddest I've ever seen Jack Donahue. Safe Haven is now a candle. It's a candle of hope. We have a huge mental health problem in America today. You know that. We see it on our streets. We see it in our emergency rooms. We see it in our jails. There are a lot of reasons for it. I don't have all the answers, but I know this. The problem is not going to be solved by present company excluded, by the smart, virtuous, cultured, cosmopolitan, goat's milk latte drinking people in Washington, D.C. who think they are smarter and more virtuous than the rest of us. One of the reasons Jim is doing such a fine job is he's not part of that club. It's going to be solved by us, by Americans, right in their communities. I'm so proud of this project. So many people contributed to it. I just hesitate to start naming names, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Pat Brister. She took a truckload of lemons and turned it into lemonade with the help of a lot of people in this room. She didn't curse the darkness. She lit a candle, and you helped her. I also want to thank one other person. You know, I use this expression a lot to explain politics in Louisiana. I say every Louisianians believe in justice, but every now and then we send an innocent man to the legislature. And one of those innocent men is right here, Jack Donahue. Another one, by the way, is our senator right here. Raise your hand, Senator. Yes. And next to her, Reed Falconer. Jack got this phone call, I think it was a Friday afternoon, I could be wrong, but this is his district, saying the hospital is going to be closed. No information about why, no information about savings, no information what we're going to do with the poor souls who depended on this. It wasn't right. It wasn't fair. But once again, Senator Donahue with the president, they could have cursed the darkness. Now, Jack might have cursed a little bit for a while. Pat might have too, but not for long. They didn't curse the darkness. They said, how do we light a candle here? And they've done that. And I am so proud to be here today with them, with the Archbishop. You honor us with your presence, and so proud to be just a little bitty small part of this. God bless all of you, and thank you all for your contribution to this. Some of my colleagues in Washington think that government made America great, and it's government that'll make America even greater. I don't agree with them. Ordinary people like you doing extraordinary things is what made America great. And we'll be fine as a country just as long as we remember who we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy, so much. Next, I want to welcome Senator Jack Donahue. You've heard a lot about him to this point, and I'm sure you're going to be interested in what he has to say. But first, I'm going to embarrass him a little bit because he has been a mentor for me in this issue. He's a dear friend, he and Mara both. And there are some days that you just wanted to give up. but he was there to help us get through it. So we're here today because he was there with me as we made these decisions. So, with that, Senator Kennedy, my good friend, my very good friend, Senator Jack Donahue. Thank you.
I'm not sure who I am. So I wanted to recognize Beth Mizell. I served the last 4 years in the Senate with her. She's a dynamite lady, and we think great things are coming from her. And sitting next to her is a good friend of mine that's prepared himself to serve in the Senate, and I know he'll be there, Reed Falconer. So welcome both of you. So it was July 13th, 2012 at 12:25 when the Chief of Staff from Governor Jindal's office called to tell me that he was shutting down Southeastern Hospital. And you're right, I didn't have anything that anybody could print because I couldn't believe it, that I hadn't heard anything about it. He was closing this hospital. 400 plus some jobs, and not just the jobs, but the people that are helped from around the state in this facility. And all those people, where were they going to go? What was going to happen to the 400 people that were here? And I remember I wasn't alone in my anger because Senator Kennedy, who had a bigger platform than I did, let everybody know what he thought about it also. But it's a very difficult situation that we were placed in. We had so many people at risk, and that's a real problem. But it turned out, as things are sometimes in life, it was a black cloud with a silver lining. And that's what happened here. So the business community, the legislative delegation, parish government all came together under the leadership of our parish president, and we started trying to think of what we could do. And I'm not going to bore you with the details because they said I only have a minute. So, but we were able to come up with some ideas, and we promoted those ideas to produce what is now Safe Haven. This is a great campus, and what followed the action was truly remarkable. When you think about it, look at the facility. It's a pretty rough place to begin with. In the state budget, we always look to try to get money to make sure the water was safe in this facility and you could flush toilets. It's a rough place. But what came out of that dastardly deed on July 12th was people working together to do something for the community. And I just can't tell you how thrilled I am to be able to be part of it. And you've heard Pat talk about it, and Senator Kennedy and Director Carroll. It's a great place. This facility is going to be a triage, as you heard, which is going to be great. People don't always just have to go to jail because they have a mental problem. They don't have to get strapped into a bed in the ER room because they have a mental problem. We have the ability to find out what's wrong with those people and help them. This facility demonstrates what true leadership is all about. I work very closely with Kelly Rabelais. She was mentioned a little earlier, but she gets me passionate about this because she's so passionate. Kelly. You want to embarrass him, get her to stand up, John? So thank you for everything that you do for this facility and the community. I'm a contractor. That's what I've done all my life, and that's really all I know. I'm an engineer by training. I've been in the construction business. And I've seen a lot of people in my time. A lot of people have ideas, but they can't make those ideas work. And I see a lot of people that work hard, but they have no vision for the future. So it's very rare when you find somebody that has a vision and the ability to make that vision work. And that's what we were fortunate enough to have in this parish with our parish president, Pat Brister. She made all of this stuff work. She willed it, and because she willed it, it happened. So she's got some great people involved in it now, sitting here at the front, and I think this facility is going to become a model across the country of what communities can do that want to help people that have mental disabilities. So we're very fortunate to have that. Safe Haven has a great board. As chairman of the foundation for Safe Haven, we get to work with that board some. They worked real hard to make all of this a reality. And listen, I'm just thrilled to be here, to be part of it. It's nice to see so many faces that I know for over all these years, and I know how passionate you are about this facility and make sure it's a first-class facility, and I'm sure you will be. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack. And I'm sure Senator Kennedy and Senator Donahue thought I might not mention Kelly. Well, of course I will. So Kelly, come stand by me, please. So I'm going to relate a little story. When the word came down and we were all in shock and we thought and met and prayed, Archbishop, we prayed a lot. Met with my staff. Kelly was my legal guide at that point in time. So I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to buy that place. She said, no, we're not. I said, yeah, we're going to buy this place. And we're going to just trust God. He's going to lead us. We've got the community behind us. And once that was said, that we made our decision, we're going to buy this place, and prayed to God we could find the money. Kelly has not stopped a second, not 1 second, to get us where we are. I rely on her every day. She knows this place in and out, knows all about it. I could introduce many, many more people in this audience, and I'm sorry we don't have the time to do that. But this one has been a godsend, Archbishop, for me, and I thank her every day. Now that I convinced her we could do it. So thank you again. I thank all of you for being part of this historical day. Before we ceremoniously break ground, I would like to ask Archbishop Amon to come up and close as part of our ceremony with a prayer. And Archbishop, I will tell you as you're coming up, if anyone in this room ever doubted, this was a God thing, and we're so thankful to God we have it. Thank you.
Thank you, and let us pray. Merciful and loving God, you are a God of hope and healing. We thank you for Safe Haven. Please give your gifts of hope and healing to all who come here, to those who work here and serve here, and the families of those seeking healing. We thank you for all who make Safe Haven possible. It is indeed a gift from you. Continue to bless this gift. Bless the work of our hands and the love of our hearts. For you are God, living and reigning forever and ever. Amen. And thank you, Pat. It's great to be a part of this project.
Thank you so much. So now we're going to ask our special guest to come up, and Ronnie is going to set them up for the ceremonial groundbreaking.
With a 5-minute rebuttal. Okay? We're not going to drag this out. There was a 2.5, 3-hour community meeting. I hope a lot of your questions got answered, and I would think that they did with the length of the meeting. So we're going to move forward. Will the Secretary please call roll?
Tom Seeger. Carolyn Parker, Bernie Willie,
Here.
Todd Richard,
Here.
Dave Doherty,
Here.
Barry Baggert, Patrick Fitzmaurice, Weldon Crawford, Kirk Drum, Ron Randolph. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Please silence all phones and electronic devices. If you have an appeal, you disagree with something this commission does, you have the right to appeal it to the council. Appeal cards are over to my right on the post over here. And if you want to speak, there's speaker cards over there with it. Get it turned in, and they'll get it up here to us. Speaking, public speaking is 10 minutes each side, 5 minutes rebuttal. After your case has been heard, you're welcome to stay in the chambers, but if you go out in the lobby, please don't speak out there because the sound comes back into the chambers here. Go on outside, and I think we're going to have a decent weather out there if you need to go outside. Please rise for the invocation by Commissioner Randolph and the pledge by Commissioner Seeger.
Gracious Father, once again, we come to you as almost we know how, thanking you for all the blessings you bestowed in our lives throughout this day and throughout the past and even right now. We thank you for the presence of everyone in the audience. We thank you for our commissioner, Lord, and allow us to make the decision that we can with the information that's available to us. And Lord, we ask that you bless our parish and our employees and all of our citizens. Lord, a special blessing and prayer and peace and comfort upon the family of Pug Lore and our deceased commissioner. Be with them, Lord, in a mighty way, and bless them as well. And Lord, we ask that you also be with all of our military personnel, veterans, law enforcement officers, firefighters, and medical personnel, that they might be able to help us and provide the services as well. And all these blessings we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join with me in pledging allegiance to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first item we have for business is the approval of the September 3rd minutes. They were in your packet. Hopefully you had an opportunity to review them. Do I hear a motion to approve? Commissioner Drum.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Thank you. Commissioner Randolph.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Randolph. Please vote.
The motion to approve passed.
Thank you. Staff, we have any postponing of cases? No postponing. All right. The first item we have is case 2019-1530-ZC. Existing zoning is PBC2 Planned Business Center. The proposed zoning is AML, Advanced Manufacturing and Logistics District. It's 90.31 acres. The petitioner is Jones Fussell, Paul Marone. Owner is Allstate Financial Company, Bruce Weiner. The location is partially located on the south and west sides of Oshner, west of LA 21, Covington, Ward 1, District 1. Staff? You got,
I'm sorry, what?
you got to turn the mic on.
Emily has to turn them on, the mics. Do you know how to do it?
Let's see. Yeah, admin 1 and 2. See what you got now.
The petitioner is requesting to change the zoning from PBC2 to AML, Advanced Manufacturing and Logistic District. The 2025 future land use plan calls for the site to be developed as a planned district with residential uses. while preserving the natural environment. Staff does not have any objection to the request, considering that the petitioned AML zoning district allow for uses that are parallels with the existing PBC2 zoning district. And at this time, staff would like to recommend approval of the request.
Thank you. Mr. Marone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul Marone on behalf of the petitioners this evening. As Ms. Lambert just noted, our rezoning request is to go from the existing PBC2 Planned Business Campus to the AML, or Advanced Manufacturing Logistics District. As you all know from hearing this case last month, and for those of you that were at the community meeting, the purpose of the request is to accommodate a regional distribution facility for Medline Industries. That facility will be constructed at 800,000 square feet. The property itself can accommodate an addition on that building to 1 million square feet, but it's important that it be noted that the proposal is for an 800,000 square foot building. The addition to that building is if and only if the market would dictate that. It is inconceivable to Medline that the market could possibly be in a position to expand the facility for at least a 10-year period. So for the initial 10 years, the facility proposed is the 800,000 square feet that will be owner-occupied. There will be no debt on the facility. It'll be a LEED certified facility, state-of-the-art, first-class facility that will also take advantage and utilize solar power. Now, the purpose of the AML district, as you may know, is to provide a location for large-scale facilities to use in the transportation and logistics industries. That district is supposed to be located in close proximity to major transportation routes. I would submit to you that given those two criteria, this site and our request are in compliance with each of those and fulfill each requirement. Let's talk about the location and the surroundings. I've provided you with some aerials and some site plans. The first site plan, the first aerial that you will see there, gives an overview of the property. As you will see, this site does not abut residential on any side. All sides are either commercial or the interstate or additional PBC2. To our south, we immediately abut I-12. To our east, we abut detention ponds and a sewer treatment pond. To our north, we abut additional PBC2 property, which is owned by the Wayner family. To our west, we abut vacant land that is zoned commercial, and I would describe the owners there as missing because we've been trying to locate those owners for about 10 years and have been unable to do so. But let's take it a bit further. If you will look at that site plan, you will see that the proposed building is approximately, actually it's more than a quarter mile from the closest home in Shady Lakes, which is to our north and our west. The building is approximately a half mile from the closest home in Maison du Lac subdivision. It is over 1,000 linear feet south and east of the existing roundabout at Ochsner Boulevard, and it is over 2,000 linear feet from the closest home in Normandy Oaks. If you'll go to the second slide, or the second document and site plan, you'll see some distances that will bring you in closer to the site itself and will illustrate for you the buffers that we have on the site. As you see, along I-12, we have a minimal tree buffer of 60 feet. That buffer on the east and west sides increases to 134 feet. On our east side, we have a 210-foot green space buffer. On our west side, we have over 700 feet of green space buffer. And on our north side, we have 200 feet at a minimum, and that's just to the proposed connector road. So, again, this site is located a long, long way from any residential development, and it is well buffered, as you see in that site plan. Also, you'll note in the site plan the amount of green space. At the 800,000 square foot facility, the property will have about 26.41 acres of green space. If the facility is expanded to 1 million square feet, then you would still have over 18 acres of green space on the site. Let's talk about the traffic and the trucks. First, At startup, and now keep in mind, startup would be mid-2021 if everything went perfect. Mid-2021, this facility would generate about 50 to 60 truck trips per day. If we project that out, based on anticipated growth, about 3 to 4 years beyond that, so now we're at 2024 perhaps, then 100 truck trips per day. If the facility is ever expanded to 1 million square feet, because market has dictated, and again, then we're talking 10, 20 years out, well into the future, then the facility could generate up to 170 trips per day. I recognize that number has been batted around, and it is a large number, but it is imperative, and I urge you to keep that number in context. What do I mean by that? That number is less than 1% of the traffic that is currently traveling Highway 21 and Highway 1077. There are over 28,000 vehicle trips along Highway 21 today. There are over 17,000 vehicle trips up and down Highway 1077 today. I tell you that because when you hear 170 trips 10 years into the future, it sounds like a lot. I would submit to you that less than 1% of the traffic today is not going to move the needle. It is not going to have a significant impact on the functionality of those roadways. Also, the trucks that would be utilized in this facility are Medline-owned trucks. They are owned by the company. Their drivers are employed by the company. Other than Medline trucks, you will have deliveries, most of which will be from Federal Express, and we presume will be serviced out of the Federal Express facility that is currently located north of this site off of Highway 1077. So those vehicles would be anything that you might see in the FedEx fleet, everything from the large trucks down to the delivery vans. It's also important to note that these vehicles and these truck trips will be off-peak. So what do I mean by that? The trucks will leave the facility in the morning. The inbound trucks will come in the afternoon. Medline's operations are designed to avoid putting traffic on the roadway during peak times, 7 to 9 a.m., 4 to 6 p.m. Also, Medline is keenly aware of and is cognizant of Hannon High School at the roundabout at 1077 and 1085. And there will not be any meaningful amount of traffic that will be generated by this facility during the take-in and let-out of that school. The typical inbound route for a truck at this facility is most likely coming off of Highway 1077. The reason I say that is that getting off at 1077, whether you're east or westbound, you will be able to almost immediately get into a dedicated turn lane that will put you on the extension road and that will bring you straight to this facility. As for outbound trucks, it will depend in part on its ultimate destination. However, I would tell you that as the easiest inbound route is coming off of 1077, the easiest outbound route is coming off of Highway 21. So you likely would see trucks that are going to utilize Highway 21 to get onto the interstate and go to their points of ultimate destination. It's important also to note that as to the Medline trucks, their route and their timing is controlled by Medline. They are computer generated, and Medline has the ability to dictate those routes and times. It's also important to note that the trucks that will visit this facility will not be going further into the interior portions of our parish. These trucks are not going down into Mandeville. These trucks are not going north into Covington. The only truck that is going north into Covington is one truck each day to distribute and deliver supplies to St. Tammany Parish Hospital. That's the same truck that is doing that delivery right now. Other than that, all other traffic will leave this facility and will go straight to the interstate. As to the employees, all of the employees at the facility will be off-peak. There will be shifts, and not one of the shifts will start during between 7 and 9 or 4 and 6 in the afternoon. So the truck traffic is off-peak. The employee shifts are also off-peak. As for the noise that's generated by the trucks, I know that there is concern about the noise at Shady Lakes. I will tell you that I would remind you that there's a buffer. I would also point out that a truck decibel limit is 80 decibels. A car is 62 decibels. At 150 feet, a truck will have the same decibel level as a car at 50 feet. That does not take into account what you have in this instance, where you will have right-of-way, you will have 75 feet of treed buffer, then you will have a property line, then you will have a yard, and then you will have a home. So I submit that information to you to suggest that there are things that were taken into account when that road was being designed and in order to help address some of these concerns. Finally, I would point out, in conclusion, I would point out that the traffic generated by a PBC2 use on this site would be 4 to 5 times the traffic generated from this facility. We would respectfully request your approval, and I'll be happy to address other issues in my rebuttal. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Roan. All right. Do we have anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of this facility? So we'll go to the opposition. Leo Hemelt. Please state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Leo Hemelt. I live at 86 North Dogwood Drive. I'm not sure why this is beeping here.
I did.
My time's up.
Boy, that was quick.
Not a good sign.
No, that's a great sign. You're good.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Leo Hemelt. I live at 86 North Dogwood Drive in Flowers Estates, Covington. By way of background, one of my many degrees, I have a master's degree in geography at USL and concentrated in city and regional planning. I worked as an urban planner for 2 years, once a year in Monroe and a year in Lafayette. Then I went to law school. Worked as an assistant DA here very early on under Marion Farmer. Did some of the planning and zoning litigation there, and then left and then came back and was there for 10 years and retired from the district attorney's office. You have in your packet a letter that was prepared regarding our opposition. And I think I'm just going to read it, and if you have any questions, it's very short, it's just a page and a half, and I'll go as fast as possible. It gives you a bit of a history there. The Economic Development Office went to parish planning and requested the creation of this classification. The uses in the classification were intended for isolated areas such as the land past the old Heart Hospital in Lacombe. This is as per Reed Falconer, who was the chair in 2014. The 15 uses were studied and approved by the council. These uses were never intended to be near residential areas. Petitioner offers to, at one point he did offer to exclude 14 and 15 uses, but that doesn't cure the problem. The problem is you're rezoning this for everything that can be placed under that. There is no property zone A, M, and L in the parish, and none have been requested until now. The parish conducted a comprehensive study in 2010, and when asked Monday by Ms. Wagner, Mr. Weiner stated, "That is what I wanted, is transitional from the most intensive to the less intensive. That's the responsible thing to do." Regarding traffic, Ms. Brister stated that at a leadership meeting that the connector road includes a path for biking and walking. Note, this design was not done anticipating high volume 18-wheeler traffic. Petitioner cites their traffic count to show that there'd be much more traffic under the existing zoning. But according to the Department of Transportation and Development for Louisiana, one truck is equal to 6,000 cars in wear and tear on the roadway. So the roadway will obviously degrade faster with all these trucks. Regard to drainage and flooding, the amount of fill required for this 800,000 to 1 million square foot concrete pad will raise the level above the surrounding residential areas. To put To put the proposed Medline facility into perspective, the Lowe's on 190 is a 100,000 square foot building. The Medline Fill build-out is 10 times that size. And I want to add just for a moment here, I did some calculations on the size of this building because I was just, and for the first time I realized how huge it was. At 800,000 square feet, we're looking at that's the size of 13 football fields, including end zones. We know we all go to football games, we see that. So put that in perspective, that would also be 18 acres of warehouse. Now, if it goes to 1 million square feet, that's 17 football fields or 22 acres. Again, including end zones. So that is a big building. And I'm thinking maybe at Michoud they might be a building that big. I don't know, but that is certainly going to be a gigantic building. There are 18,000 registered voters in the immediate area. There are numerous numbers of neighborhoods. There are 19 named subdivisions. In a little over a week, more than 1,000 residents have signed the petition opposing this. Although I'll be honest with you, I don't think it matters whether it's 1,000, 10,000, or 2 people. It's whether this thing fits that zoning. And in my opinion, it does not. And that's where I think you have to look to what are we talking about as planning and zoning. If we look at that, comprehensive zoning is designated to lessen congestion in public streets, secure safety from fire, promote health and general welfare. Such regulations shall be made after reasonable consideration of the character of a district and its peculiar suitability for particular uses with a view for conserving the values of buildings and encouraging the most appropriate use of the land. I think when you look at it, when you take everything in context, this is not the right zoning for that piece of land where it's located. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I've just been handed some additional petitions.
Okay. All right. Are you finished, Mr. Email? All right. The next card I have is Donlin Hassenbowler.
Very good. My name is Donlin Hassenbowler. I live at 83 Xenia Drive in Covington, Louisiana, but I'm here to talk on behalf of Archbishop Hannon High School. Good afternoon, commissioners and fellow residents of St. Tammany Parish. My name is Donlin Hassenbowler, academic dean and assistant principal at Archbishop Hannon High School, 71324 Highway 1077 in Covington. And speaking on behalf of our school's strong opposition to the rezoning of this property for the sale to Medline for them to construct a vast distribution center. The 90-plus acres of land currently being considered is not appropriately zoned site for a huge distribution center for several reasons. One, and the huge one, the infrastructure is just not there yet. Yes, it's near I-12, but the tie-in to Highway 1077 I-12 exit is not in place and probably will not be in place, all promises notwithstanding. All traffic would have to proceed to and around the circle on the same block as Archbishop Hannon High School. Before the parish built the circle, we were having traffic waiting for 15 minutes on all sides of 1077. I will applaud the parish's use of putting the traffic circle there. It has greatly reduced that traffic jam. And now we're talking about filling it up with trucks. It's going to be just as bad as it was before, and I-12 will be the parking lot that it is now. There are several neighborhoods nearby our school. Any land use expert would confirm that this industrial use, educational use, and residential use are not compatible. It's not about how close they are to the neighborhoods. It's about we all have to use the same exits and entrances. Mr. Wayne's attorney said there'd be double axle trucks traveling maybe 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to and from the facility, and spoke very highly that the peak hours would be from 9 to 3. Well, happens to be that peak hours for schools are from 9 to 3. That's when our children and our parents come in and out of our school facility, and they will be blocked by these trucks. The Louisiana Department of Transportation has confirmed that there are no plans for improvement to the Highway 1077 exit at 112. They would have to be using Highway 21. This highway is not set up for this traffic. We already suffer from traffic not supported by the infrastructure, including traffic to and from Archbishop Hannon. And again, before the circle was built there, it was a mess. It was horrible all day, every hour. And the traffic circle brought great relief, and we greatly appreciate it. Now we're going to be back to having the same mess we had before, and you will be hearing from all these people who can't move. Already there are hours when trucks and cars are stopped like a parking lot on 1077 and I-12, a path these trucks will have to take when they finally make it around the circle by Archbishop Hannon. The infrastructure just cannot control and handle this additional log jam. Archbishop Hannon joins the hundreds of residents in opposition to the proposed zoning change that the current owner of the land is trying to get rezoned so he can sell his land to Midline. Archbishop Hannon High School opposes the building of this immense distribution center at this location. Traffic is already a nightmare. We already have major drainage and flood issues in the parish. In our area, our parking lot floods every time it rains heavily. The concrete pad of a vast distribution center would exacerbate that particular problem. We respectfully request that you deny this request for rezoning, thus allowing for traffic to and from Archbishop Hannon to enjoy the present level of relief provided by the circle. It's infrastructure first and then development, not vice versa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we have a number of cards here, and right now we've got 46 seconds, it looks like. So if Deborah Abear.
I'll defer.
Defer, we have deferral? All right, next.
Okay. Nancy Wagner.
I defer till rebuttal, thank you.
Okay. Ryan Green. Elise Reed.
I can do it in 46 seconds. Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, my name is Elise Reed.
Please state your name and address.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Elise Reed, 24 Camellia Drive, Covington, Louisiana. Since what's before you today is not about who has an agreement as of October 9th to build a building on this property. Actually, what you're looking at is a change in zoning, a zoning which would allow for the manufacture of plastics, paint, glass, durable goods, food, furniture, and garments, and allow for research, development, and manufacture of aeronautics, automotive vehicles, computer and electronic equipment, pharmaceuticals, robotics, and hydraulics, and for scientific research and development, and for data centers and warehousing facilities, and for distribution and warehouse facilities.
Thank you.
7 seconds.
All right, Chris Massengill, we got 5 seconds. Pardon? Oh, okay. All right. Do we have any more on? That's it. Okay. All right, we'll go into rebuttal. It'll be 5 minutes for each side. Mr. Morone.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. To respond to a few of the comments with regards to the zoning, as was noted at the community meeting, and we'll reiterate today, we are fully prepared to deed restrict the property. We mentioned that again in a meeting earlier this week. We stand ready, willing, and able to do that, to deed restrict the property. With regards to the intended use or the intended location of the AML zone, and perhaps Mr. Falconer suggested that it was always intended to be in isolated areas. With all due respect to Mr. Falconer, that language, if that was the intent, does not appear in the ordinance anywhere. And I read to you the language in the ordinance. That it said it should be located near your major transportation corridors. We are directly on I-12 between Highway 1077 and Highway 21. So I would submit to you that we are in a location that is contemplated by the language of that ordinance. With regards to, again, to the right location, again, if you look at the language in the ordinance, that is what This location fits that criteria perfectly. The connector road, that it is not intended perhaps to carry significant traffic. That connector road is going to be 4 lanes. I would submit to you that it is not the intent of the parish to build a 4-lane road unless it intends to carry significant traffic. There's 45,000 vehicles that are traveling 1077 and Highway 21 in a given day. I would submit to you that this access road, which was needed 10 years ago, this connector road, is going to carry significant traffic. Is it 5,000 cars? I don't know. Is it 10,000? I don't know. But if it's 5,000, just 5,000 of that 45,000, then we're less than 4% of the traffic on the connector road. If it's 10,000, we're less than 2% of the vehicles on the connector road. With regards to the infrastructure, I would submit to you, again, that with the numbers I've given you, when you put it into perspective, the infrastructure is absolutely there, and we are a very small, almost immeasurable fraction of that. Let's talk about the building. I know Mr. Hemelt again talked about the 800,000 and the million square feet, but let's put that into perspective. Folger's facility in St. Tammany Parish, over 1 million square feet. The Associated Grocers facility, over 800,000 square feet. The Rooms to Go facility, over 800,000 square feet. But let's bring it in a little bit. St. Tammany Parish Hospital, in the middle of Covington, not right on the interstate, in the middle of Covington, over 600,000 square feet. The Baptist Church, just north of this, over 400,000 square feet. The Target and Belk shopping centers, just to our south and west, over 600,000 square feet, but that does not include Sam's, the movie facility, the movie house, the hotel, the Rooms to Go store, or the apartment complex. So to suggest that this parish doesn't have anything that's this size, I would respectfully disagree. I would also point out that we're not talking about a site that is the size of Lowe's. We're talking about a site that in its final, right now the request is at 90 acres. This site will probably occupy, and what you see on that site plan is about 70 acres. So I urge you to keep that in context. I recognize that that is a big number that you're hearing, and I know that maybe at first blush you might tell yourself, gosh, I don't know that there's anything that big in St. Tammany Parish, but there is. There's over 2 million square feet of commercial space at the Four Corners in Mandeville. When I say the Four Corners, I mean the area where Highway 22 and Highway 190, the old Kmart, the Whole Foods, the Steinmart, that area. Over 2 million square feet of retail space at that Four Corners. So I know this is a big facility, but it's on a large piece of ground. And I also know that this facility on that ground will generate far less traffic than most of the uses I just mentioned. And I know it'll generate far less traffic than a PBC2 facility, which allows 200-foot buildings. So on this 90 acres, we could have office, retail, commercial type uses with a height limit of 200 feet. So the traffic generated there would exceed it, again, by 4 or 5 times what the midline facility would exceed. This is an appropriate location. This is a good use. Your staff has recommended it. I urge you to support the request this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Marone. Okay. We'll go to the other side now. If you want to come up and state your name and address, and we've got 5 minutes for everybody.
That's right. Nancy Wagner, 33 Hyacinth Drive, Covington, Louisiana. I want to make sure you all get the full statute of Section 49 that ends with such facilities should be located in close proximity to major transportation routes with the ideal location allowing for multimodal opportunities. I do think you should read the entire ordinance or should have it read to you. And I've had this discussion numerous times. Mr. Marone knows our thing thinking deed restrictions do not cure this inappropriate zoning. Zoning belongs to the responsibility of the parish and you commissioners to decide on not to have private citizens try to spend money trying to protect deed restrictions. And then I just want to read one sentence. We urge you to follow the precepts of law, the revised statute that Mr. Hemelt read, the principles of zoning, appropriate use, and exercise care for the health, safety, and welfare of citizens. Please vote to deny this rezoning request. And I have the 1,000-some online petitions and additional written ones to turn into Helen. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if we have a...
Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and address.
Deborah Abear, 117 North Dogwood Drive. I just wanted to say we met with the attorney, Paul Wayner, and the Wayners the other day on Monday, and I asked him about the 90 acres. Medline only wants 67.47 acres, and I asked him to please separate the two, and he can do that in tonight's meeting. He could have separated it, and he never did. So I asked him nicely to please separate out the 67.47 acres so we don't have 23 acres out there with questionable zoning. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next. Please state your name and address.
Ryan Green, 14488 Lake Tahoe Drive. So Mr. Marone did talk about the residences that would be most closely impacted. He spoke about somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 linear feet from the closest residence, and so that would be me and my neighbors. One of the things that he didn't mention as well is that you would not be able to hear truck traffic because of the buffer zones. When I'm in my backyard in the evening, I can hear the interstate. I hear trucks. I know I can distinguish trucks from cars. It's not hard to do. So to say that we would not be able to hear that, I think is inaccurate. And then we want to add 28,000 more trucks, delivery trucks or add more delivery trucks to the already 28,000 cars that are on Highway 21, particularly at Oxner Boulevard. If a truck is going to come down Oxner to 21 and have to go to Gulfport, they're going to have to go south on 21 and then get across 3 lanes of traffic, which is tough enough to do in an old Honda Pilot. They're going to have to do that in a delivery truck. That just doesn't seem safe. So he mentioned about the Four Corners area. I can't imagine that 1 million square feet of a project was put down there at one spot. Right? It was grown incrementally. The infrastructure, if it wasn't there, was added incrementally and was not just, let's put this big building and then let's figure out what to do around it. It was thought through a little bit more so. I will say Mr. Marone was accurate that he said this site is not Lowe's. I agree with you 100%. It's 10 times Lowe's. It's much bigger, much more intrusive. It is not suitable. It is not compatible with the area for all the reasons that we have already given. So I urge you to vote no on this petition. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else who wishes to speak in rebuttal? Yes, sir. Come to the microphone, state your name and address.
My name is Charles Belsom. I live at 824 Rue Bordeaux in the village of Normandy Oaks. I think the biggest issue here is trucks. And when you compare a volume of cars to a volume of trucks, it's inconceivable. Anybody drives on I-12 knows how it is. Trucks slow down traffic. Trucks are difficult to go from stop to a speed limit, or at least to some kind of limit that the rest of the cars can flow. To put trucks on Oshner Boulevard is insane. And it has no aprons. We're filling up the sides of the road continuously because the FedExes and those kind of trucks that do come down that highway run off the road almost continuously. So I advise you, I strongly hope that you would vote against this change in zoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? We've got 25 seconds in rebuttal against. Seeing no one, seeing no hands.
Very quickly now, as a resident, not a representative of Japan High School, trucks going around our circle, the one you just built that looks so beautiful there, they will destroy that circle, and you'll be wasting all that money that you used to build it. Thank you.
Thank you. 12 seconds. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, come to the microphone, state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Maria Meir, 4 Begonia Drive. I think the important thing to realize is that we're not against Medline, okay? It's just not in our neighborhood. We have continuous deaths that have occurred on I-12. It is a congested, horrible area. The noise level, the flooding that we're concerned about, our flood insurance going up because we have a volunteer fire department that is not adequately prepared to take care of the immense building and infrastructure should there be a fire. And I think that needs to be also looked into, and ask you please consider the will of the people. We live there. This is our sanctuary. This is our home. Medline has other opportunities to find other places. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That takes all of the time. I'm going to close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Crawford.
Okay. First, I'd like to commend everybody here on both sides. This has been a long process, but it's been, I guess the best way to put it is everybody's been very well behaved. You know, it's been pleasurable, which is not always the case. I've been to a lot of these meetings before I got on this side of the table, and they can get out of hand sometimes. And everybody on both sides has done a great job. We had the community meeting on the 26th, and I think some good information came out of that from both sides. We heard a lot more from the residents and a lot more different residents. We heard a lot more from Medline. Mr. Dimitri furnished a ton of information and did a very good job with Paul of explaining everything. So I feel that whatever my decision is, I feel I can make an informed decision much more so than before. So I just want to commend everybody and thank you for that.
Thank you. Commissioner Seeger.
I have a question for Mr. Dimitri. When you spoke at the community meeting, you told us about the Medline fleet. I'm a little confused as to how many 18-wheelers as opposed to delivery-type trucks. Can you break that down a little bit and explain what kind of delivery system you have there?
Yes, sir. Thank you. First of all, I want to express my deepest condolences for Mr. Lorraine. I just learned about that, so to his family, our deepest condolences. So today, we have about 10 trucks that will, by the time we open the facility, will grow to about 25 trucks. When we say trucks, out of those 25 trucks, 15 to 17 will be single-axle 14-wheel trucks, about 5 to 7 straight trucks, and about 5 to 7 vans, similar to like FedEx vans. But all of our fleet we refer to as trucks. And so those 25 single-axle straight trucks and vans typically do 1 to 3 trips per day, and so that's how we come to the 50 trips per day when we open the facility, 150 to 170 at a 1 million square foot build out.
And do we have any idea what the decibel level is? The decibel level that was reported, was that for the single axle trucks?
Yes, sir. I mean, we obviously went for the worst case scenario. The straight trucks, obviously very common. You know, your moving trucks, your Penske trucks, they're all they're straight trucks. And the vans are obviously on the road already. So we assume that when the connector road is built and you have, 5 to 15,000 vehicles on that, the most of them are not going to be big trucks. Most of them are going to be cars, vans, and straight trucks, not the single axle. And so we measured the single axle.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. I don't have anyone else in the queue to speak. We need to take action on this. We need a motion. Commissioner Seeger,
yes.
I still have you in the queue. I haven't.
I again want to say thank you for everybody and everybody's concern. As per the staff recommendation, I move that we approve the zoning change.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Seeger to approve the change from PBC2 to AML. Do I have a second? Commissioner Fitzmaurice. Second by Commissioner Fitzmaurice. Any further discussion? Please vote. We have 5 yeas, 3 nays. Pardon?
6 for majority.
Yeah. Based on the Robert's Rules of Order, I guess that's what we go by, this motion fails. So it will go to the commission with a failed result. Thank y'all for coming. We're going to hold up for just a few minutes. If y'all want to stay, that's great. If you want to leave, that's fine too. Okay?
You might want to mention the bigger largest. Is there rules say that you have to have 6?
That's what I put your call in. I counted 2 plus deputy, and she double checked, and she says the majority of the commission.
The majority commission, not the majority of the court of the
Not simple majority of the commission.
I don't remember. Do you know what case it was? Is it this case?
Yeah.
I put them in order. This one? 89. This one. They just tear it up? Okay.
I thought once we had a quorum. You would need 6 of the 11. 6 of the 11. In order to be applied to that, 6 votes. No action. The recommendation will not count. I'll have to check and see. We'll have that corrected. Like you said, there's no action.
It could have said that. The computer might have said that. Yeah, it could have said that, but it doesn't mean the Robert rule.
It's a 5-vote vote. You need 6 votes for permission to take an action. One or the other. Majority of the reasons I would have thought that. Simple majority of the court. South probably get them.
It's the Randolph ones. Good. Well, I'm glad I left it up on the screen. Not my fault, but the machine shouldn't answer for us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this call looked confused. I'm like, what? You leaving?
We're going to resume in a moment. The chairman had to step out for a second, but there was some confusion on the outcome on the screen, which we didn't notice. Apparently, the software that is used defaulted to pass, whereas our particular rules say we have to have a majority of the members. We have 11 members that requires a vote of 6. Unfortunately, we didn't have all 11 members here, one passing away and 2 out. So the screen incorrectly said that the motion passed. Regardless, all of the individuals have an opportunity to appeal to council. We fully expected this matter to go before the council, and this is just a step in that direction. So just give us a couple more minutes, Mr. Doherty, or we'll be back in just a moment.
What you gonna say? You want to get TMI? Oh, goodness
Thanks for your comments.
Yes. It was 5-3. The ones that were against Richard, Drum, and Randolph.
Richard,
Drum, and Randolph.
All right, we're going to get started back on the agenda.
Drum, and Randolph.
Next item is 2019-1575-ZC, existing zonings A2 Suburban District, proposed zoning PF1 Public Facilities District. It's 2 acres. Petitioners David Wyndham, owners Liz Beth Peter, Michael Charlton, Andre Charlton, Philip Michael Peter, parcel located on the north side of Louisiana 1085, east of Beatico Creek, Madisonville, Ward 1, District 1. Staff?
All of the 2025 future land use plan designates the site to be developed with residential uses. Staff doesn't have any objection to the request, considering that the objective of the PF1 is to provide for the location of governmental and institutional uses to the public. Note that the site is proposed to be developed with a fire station, and staff would like to recommend approval.
Thank you. Anyone here representing Petitioner David Wyndham? Is David Wyndham here? Please come forward and state your name and address.
Hello. My name is Philip Michael Peter. I live at 59246 West Harbor Lane in Lacombe. I'm here representing the people you listed there. My sister Elizabeth Peter, who lives in Hawaii, my cousin Michael Chalaron lives in Baton Rouge, and my cousin Andre Chalaron, who lives in Austin, Texas. We are speaking on behalf of David Wyndham of the fire department and requesting that the 2-acre parcel that listed is rezoned from suburban A2 to the PF1 for the construction of a fire station. I'm not sure how much additional information. We are under contract to sell those 2 acres to the fire department. As a bit of background, the four of us own what is about 50 acres of property there. We're the descendants of Philip E. and Vivian Peter, who lived at the 109 Peters Road address that's known there now. Part of our desire to sell this is that the station will be designated a memorial station with their names on the facility. So we've carved out 2 acres of our 50-acre parcel. We understand, actually I met David several years ago regarding another piece of property we had. So we know the fire department has been looking for property in that area for quite some time. We seem to be one of the few owners that are willing to work with them to provide the land that they need. Particularly with the Biddico Creek subdivision not having adequate coverage from the fire department. My understanding is the response times they currently have for that department or that development are quite extensive. So, hoping that's about all I know or can say.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's see if there's anyone else that wishes to speak in favor. I see. Looks like a fireman coming up too. Please state your name and address.
Yes, my name is Randy Hess. I'm the fire chief of St. Tammany Fire District 2. I live at 536 Loden Way in Madisonville. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, obviously we come before you tonight as the fire district to ask for a rezoning of this property for which would be our 4th fire station. Just a little bit about our fire department. I'm sure you all know in Madisonville we're one of the fastest growing fire districts in the parish. The first map I gave you is the area that we encompass. To make it simple, we cover from basically the Chafunkta Bridge to the parish lawn, and then we also cover the Pinnacle Shopping Center and both Flowers Estates, north and south. As of January of this year, we went from a PIO rating from a 5 to a 3, which was pretty outstanding. Because of that, we're getting re-rated again this year because we dropped 2 points. We operate out of 3 stations. We have 3 engines, a ladder truck, and a district chief, which is staffed every day. And we have a maximum currently of 12, but it'll be 13 before the end of the year because I have some people getting out of rookie school. Total employees, we have 42. We run about 1,500. Well, we're on track to run about 1,500 calls, which is about 100 calls more than last year. So why do we need the fire station? We started looking for property about 2 years ago because we recognized when Biddico Creek was being developed that, it's 1,000+ homes. So we knew we were going to need something. The closest station that we have to the entrance of Biddico Creek is 2.7 miles. Doesn't sound like a lot. But in a few seconds, I'll get you to turn a page to see some of the, we call them demand zones, grids, and I have them highlighted on page 2, or the second map. And you could thumb through, I'll just go to, on the page with the bar graphs, that says 2235 west and 2235 east, just to give you an indication to how long it takes us to get there. In the very front of the neighborhood, it takes us almost 9 minutes. That's unacceptable for us. And that's not even including the time that it takes for the call to come in to get processed for us to get the call. Now, on the back side of the neighborhood, which from the very front entrance to the very back is over 1.5 miles. So it's pretty obviously a big subdivision, and that takes us almost 11 minutes. Now keep in mind, this is an average over 2 years, well, from January 1st of 2018 through today, okay? So, like I said, we started looking 2 years ago, and as Mr. Peters said, it's very difficult to find property in this area. We happened to get lucky in finding him. just so you know, on the second page with those grids, this is an old map which doesn't show a brand-new neighborhood that's being developed at Highway 21 in Perilou, which I'm told has 100-plus homes. We also have Fox Branch, which is an existing neighborhood, and you can, look through and see the times that it's taken us. I mean, they're a bit excessive. We realize that. We just, like I said, had a hard time finding property. So, let's see. So in closing, I'd like to remind y'all, our mission to protect life and property. Currently, it's hard to do that in the situation that we have now with the extended response times. Time is critical to us, whether it be fire or medical. So I hope I've presented enough to show you that we have a real need to properly serve our citizens, and we appreciate your consideration on this issue.
All right, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak against? I'm going to close it to the public and bring it to the commission. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to approve. Commissioner Randolph.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Randolph.
I want to ask a question real quick.
All right. We have... You need a question?
Yeah, I'd like to. Chief Hass, I hate to make you come back up, but I'm curious. I'm fully supporting this, but what is your anticipated reduction in time with this new station? Because obviously that was a staggering number you gave us.
I can tell you this, and I'm not going to try to sit here and tell you we're obligated to meet 5 minutes and 10 seconds by PIL and NFPA, which is the guidelines that we go off of. I can tell you about 1.5 miles from the time we get the call to the time we get there, because it takes us time to get out the station, and they allow us 1 minute and 20. I anticipate for Beatico Creek specifically, the very back, I'm still not sure we make it. We can't go 100 miles an hour. Not that we do, but we can't go fast in a residential neighborhood. However, on 1085 and the roads that come off of 1085, I anticipate that we can probably make just about all of that in 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
That's wonderful news. I guess there's no other opportunity for you. You hate for you to build a station and find land later that's closer that helps meet it.
Well, like I said, we're blessed to find this. I mean, we can't wait any longer. We just, this has been a long process to find property.
Understood. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Next item, item 3, 2019-1581-ZC. Existing zoning is A1 suburban. Proposed zoning is A2 suburban. It's 2.66 acres. The petitioner is Angela and Veston Jenkins. Owner is Angela and Veston Jenkins. Parcel located on the east side of 4th Avenue, south of Hillenburg Road, being a portion of Farm Number 15, Hillenburg Lots and Farms, Covington, Ward 3, District 5. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan designates the site to be developed with residential uses. Staff does not see any compelling reason to recommend approval of this request, considering that the site is surrounded by A1 suburban residential zoning designation on the north, east, and south side. So at this time, staff would like to recommend denial of the request.
Thank you. Angela or Veston Jenkins, are you here? Please come to the mic and state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Veston Jenkins, 69152 4th Avenue, Covington, Louisiana. I'm trying to get this over to A2. My neighbor on the north is he's A1, he's 5 acres. The one on my east is 10 acres, which is just woods. South, they're A2. He has 2.5 acres, and the other one has about an acre. I think he's A2 or A3. On the west of me is 3 pieces of property joining mine. One is 1.25 acres. It's A2. The other 2 is just 2 lots. They're A2. I'm trying to get mine into A2 instead of A1 because I don't have 5 acres. I've lived there 57 years. When we moved there, it wasn't 5 acres. It was 4 acres and something. I'm just trying to get this so I can leave this to my daughters. Split it and leave it to them. That's all I'm trying to do.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak against? I'll close the floor to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Willie.
Yes. Is it on?
You should be.
On? Yes. I think Mr. Jenkins has a good case. I move for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Willie to approve. Commissioner Randolph.
I second that.
Second by Commissioner Randolph. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is 2019-1583-ZC. Existing zonings A2 Suburban District, proposed zonings A2 Suburban District, and manufactured housing overlay. It's 5 acres. The petitioner is Teresa Gore Spears, and the owner is Teresa Gore Spears. Parcel located on the east side of Transmitter Road, south of U.S. Highway 190 in Lacombe, Ward 7, District 11. Staff?
The 2025 Future Land Use Plan calls for the site to be developed with residential uses, including manufactured homes. Staff doesn't have any objection to the request and would like to recommend approval.
Thank you. Is Spears, Mr. and Ms. Spears here? Please come forward and state your name and address, please.
My name is Teresa Spears, and I live at 59294 Transmitter Road in Lacombe. And I'd like to have y'all's approval to be able to let my nephew put a manufactured home on the 2nd acre, which I have no children, and eventually he's going to get the land anyway. And he's got a fiance and a young baby, and they would like to get a house or home pretty soon. And I'm open for questions or whatever.
All right. Let's see if there's anyone else that wishes to speak. I don't think there will be.
I've talked to a bunch of my neighbors, and they said they had no objection, so they felt they didn't need to come. Of all the ones I did speak to, nobody had an objection to it because I guess they figure just 2 blocks up the road, there is a trailer park with 20 trailers in it.
Okay. Let me ask, let me see if there's anybody that wishes to speak against.
Okay.
I doubt if there is, but is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak against adding manufactured housing overlay to this property? All right. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Crawford.
Okay, thank you for hearing.
Yes, I'm familiar with the area, very familiar, and I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Crawford to approve. Commissioner Fitzmars.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fitzmars. I got a question for staff. It's 5 acres, and we're going to add the manufactured housing overlay to all 5 acres. Now, Ms. Spears, I think I heard she's going to basically subdivide this property to give her nephew 2 acres. 1 acre?
Get back up and ask her.
Does she need to come back and with the survey on what she's?
Yeah, if she's going to subdivide and give him a portion of the property, then she's going to have to go through the minor subdivision process. Yeah.
Okay.
Is he allowed to put it on there still under my name?
You can. I mean, if you'd like to, you can call our office tomorrow, and we can go over that with you.
Okay, call the commissioner's office or?
Planning department, yes.
Planning department. Because I didn't really want to subdivide it because eventually he's going to get all 5 when I pass it.
Okay, all right.
And if he could just put it on the 2nd acre, I know he's got to go through all the permits with the septic tank and CLECO, and we understand all that.
Call Ms. Lambert's office tomorrow, and she'll go over all that with you, what needs to be done so that it stays legal. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay, no problem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is 2019-1587-ZC. His existing zoning is A3. The proposed zoning is A3 and manufactured housing overlay. It's .204 acres. The petitioner is Frida Verlinda Ray Torregano, and the petitioner is Frida Verlinda Ray Torregano. Parcel located on the west side of Vincent Road, north of Martin Road, east side of Creek Street, Slidell, Ward 9, District 14. Staff?
The 2025 future land use plan calls for the site to be developed with residential uses, including manufactured homes. Staff doesn't have any objection and would like to recommend approval.
Thank you. One of the Torreganos here, or? Yes, sir. State your name and address.
Yeah, I'm Oswald Turgano. I'm here to speak for Frida Turgano. And the piece of property we're speaking of, we had it for a few years, a bunch of years, really. And I tried to put a house on it, but the road going back there, they say it's private. And we can't get nobody, the parish to develop. They say more people live back in the area because there's nobody back in that spot. And we decided to just go and put a trailer where somebody can get some use out of it until, a mobile home or.
Okay. All right.
But other than that, that's what I would like to do.
All right.
We both would like to do.
Okay. You need to fill out a speaker card. They're over here on the podium. Okay.
Fill it out with your name and address and give it to Miss Lambert.
Okay, that's my wife, so I think.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, all right.
All right. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak against? I'll close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Randolph.
Yes, sir. I would like to go ahead and make a motion to approve. I'm very familiar with that area, so I'd like to make a motion to approve.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Randolph to approve. Commissioner Willie.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Willie. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Mr. Fitzmaurice?
Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is 2019-1589-ZC, existing zonings NC4 Neighborhood Institutional District and A4 Single Family Residential District. Proposed zonings PF1 Public Facilities District at 6.25 acres. Petitioners Steve Hudson, owners William and Sherry Caranis. Parcel located on the south side of Louisiana 1088, west of Forest Brook Boulevard, Mandeville, Ward 4, District 7. Staff?
Staff doesn't have any objection to the request, considering that the PF1's purpose is to provide for the location of governmental and institutional uses to the public. The site is proposed to be developed with a religious use facility, and at this time, staff would like to recommend approval.
Thank you. Mr. Hudson here? Yes, come to the mic and state your name and address, please.
Steve Hudson, 18241 Hosmer Mill Road, Covington, Louisiana. We currently have a purchase agreement for the 6.25 acres from the Caranises. That's where the All Creatures kennel overnight kennel is located. And it's as far Mandeville Bible Church. We currently have our church, we're an old line church. In fact, we're the oldest Protestant church building on the North Shore. And we are really outgrowing that. So we're looking to purchase this property, to demolish the existing buildings there, and then to construct a worship a center there.
All right.
We are a very conservative church, and we're a very quiet church. We are already in a residential neighborhood, and in fact, we're right next door to a house that was built after our church was built, and we never get any complaints. We have nice neighbors, and we're very good neighbors to everyone. We think it'll be a very nice addition to the area. The size of the building is undetermined at this time, although we are thinking of building the facility to accommodate up to 300 people, but our membership right now is about 80, 85, but that would be our intent.
All right, thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor, supporting this? Anyone wish to speak against? Yes, come forward, state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Mitchell Graff from 1140 Brook Court, Mandeville, Forest Brook subdivision. Really, this is the first I've heard of it. I'm not saying I'm against, but what I'm looking for is, could we get some more information, please, on exactly what it is? Even the location of where it is. Currently, I moved into this house that would back up to this property a year ago, and we've got quite a really luscious and pretty forested area behind that. Not quite sure what the intent would be, if there's a buffer zone, if that's going to be chopped down. Drainage, again, another issue. Also wondering, parking lots, is it going to be lighted? Just try to get some general information as far as what it would all entail. That's really all I had to say.
Okay. I'm going to suggest that you get with the gentleman, Mr. Hudson, offline, and y'all see what you get the information you're looking for. I don't know which way this is going to go as far as the vote of the commission, but you will get sufficient answers, and if the answers aren't what you like, you have the opportunity to appeal this to the commission, to the council. Okay?
Within 10 days.
All right, you got to do that within 10 days, so don't wait till 11 days.
We need a speaker card for him.
Okay, we need
I have one.
Speaker card. Did you fill one out, Mr. Hudson? Speaker card? Okay.
He's a petitioner.
Okay, don't leave one on you because you're the petitioner. All right, I'm going to bring it back to anyone else wish to speak against? I'm going to bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Seeger.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Seeger to approve. Commissioner Randolph.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Randolph. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion